The Bible teaches a millennium, when Christ rules, with his resurrected and raptured saints, in Jerusalem on this earth.
They came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. At that time Jerusalem shall be called the throne of the Lord, and all nations shall gather to it, to the presence of the Lord in Jerusalem, and they shall no more stubbornly follow their own evil heart. I and the Father are one.
The Jerusalem on this earth, after Christ returns, is the throne of Yahweh. Since Jesus and Yahweh are one, Jerusalem is the throne of Jesus Christ. Jewish saints will reign with Christ over Israel. Non-Jewish saints will reign with Christ over all the nations.
Jesus said to them, "Truly I say to you, in the new world, when the Son of Man will sit on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. The one who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I also conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne." And he seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years.
Christ's kingdom extends into the eternal new heaven and new earth, after the great white throne judgment, where Satan and his followers are thrown into hell.
No longer will there be anything accursed, but the throne of God and of the Lamb will be in it, and his servants will worship him.
According to the Bible, Christ's 1,000-year kingdom has the following characteristics. Israel is geographically restored and renewed. Jesus is gloriously enthroned in the Ezekiel temple in Jerusalem. Jesus and his saints rule over all the earth with an iron rod that kills the wicked instantly. The earth is full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Savage animals become peaceful. Absolutely no more wars. Lifespans greatly increase, as in the days of Adam and Eve. No human goats, that is, Israel-hating Christians, are allowed into the kingdom. Israel is the priest nation of Yahweh, the ministers of God. Judges are restored. The Jewish saints are the judges of Israel. The Gentile saints are the judges of the nations under the Messiah, who is enthroned in Jerusalem. Sacrifices of burnt offerings, grain offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, trespass and drink offerings are offered to the Messiah. New Year, Passover, unleavened bread, and the Feast of Booths are celebrated with the Messiah. Gentiles shall go up to Jerusalem every year to worship the King, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and keep the Jewish Feast of Booths. For he must remain in heaven until the time for the final restoration of all things, as God promised long ago through his holy prophets. The Mount of Olives is split into two at Jesus' return. A fountain is opened to the house of David. Living waters flow out of Jerusalem to the west and east. The waters of the Dead Sea are healed and become a home for a great multitude of fish. Wilderness becomes a fruitful field, and the fruitful field becomes a forest. Lands around Jerusalem become fertile lowlands, and Jerusalem is greatly exalted. Israel will be given far more land than they currently possess, according to God's promise to Abraham. Christ's 1,000-year kingdom on earth is the marriage supper of the Lamb, where all the sweet memories of his courtship with virgin Israel are remembered and celebrated.
The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. For the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready.
After Christ's 1,000-year marriage supper, Satan is released to deceive his followers, the dismissed wedding guests, those who follow Satan, in the second Gog and Magog war, to hell. While the Lamb brings his bride to the new heaven and new earth to consummate the Lamb's marriage in Yahweh's blessed eternity.
The holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Christ's 1,000-year reign begins after Daniel's 70th week, the last 7 years of the 490 Hebrew years decreed for the salvation of Israel.
70 weeks are decreed about your people and your holy city, to finish the transgression, to put an end to sin, and to atone for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal both vision and prophet, and to anoint a most holy place.
The proof of this timing is that the 24 elders, the raptured 12 Jewish apostles of the New Testament, and 12 tribes of Israel of the Old Testament, are already in heaven with the Lamb before the first seal is opened.
Then the moon will be confounded, and the sun ashamed, For the Lord of hosts reigns on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and his glory will be before his elders.